this is Claire from Claire Makery, and today I am going to be teaching you how to do Intarsia Crochet. So you might be wondering, what in the world is Intarsia Crochet? Well, Intarsia Crochet is a crochet technique used to do crochet color work, like on my pumpkin coaster here. It uses multiple colors, and it involves you creating something called floats here on the back, and floats are just strands of yarn that are stretched from one point where you're using the color to the next. So here I've done a little technique that I will show you later in the video where I just carry the yarn a little bit, but overall when you do Intarsia Crochet, like up here, you're just taking the yarn and moving it from one to the other without any carrying involved at all in it. So if you would like to practice using this technique along with this video, I have a free pumpkin coaster pattern available on my blog. It's completely free. There's a graph that comes with it, and a super simple written pattern that uses all the techniques I will show you in this video. So we'll go ahead and set that aside, and you can choose to do that or not, but I've made part of the coaster right here up to where we will be doing the color work. So in order to start doing Intarsia Crochet, you'll just need to know how to do basic color techniques such as switching yarn colors. So I have gone in 3 stitches right now, and I need to do 4 when I am going to be doing switching to my orange yarn. And when you are switching colors in crochet, the best way to have a seamless color change is to switch colors in the middle of your stitch. So instead of finishing this off like a normal single crochet where I'd yarn over again and with the white and pull it through both loops, I am going to be taking my orange yarn here, and then I will be yarning this over and pulling it through both those loops. So it's almost like we are doing a slip stitch with that color. And so that is just the easiest way possible that you can switch your colors without it being super noticeable. So you'll see here like, oh, it just looks like I made a white stitch, but in actuality I finished it with orange yarn. And so if you are nervous about doing Intarsia Crochet or tapestry crochet because of you feeling like there are too many ends to weave in, I have a super simple trick that will help you have no ends that you need to weave in when you're switching all of these colors. So what I like to do is I like to take my end of the yarn right here from when I've switched colors, and then I like to just crochet around it, so then I am carrying the colors as I go, and then I just cover this end here with my yarn so that I don't need to worry about weaving this color in at all and having another strand of yarn to weave in. So I'm only going to go this many stitches in because since I am not using 2 different balls of cream yarn, or I haven't created a bobbin, I don't want to have my float go completely from this side all the way over to here. So what I'll show you how to do, and I'll show you how to do this later in the video as well, but I like to just take my yarn and then I will just carry the yarn through just 1 stitch. And then it's secure on there, so then I don't have to worry about having a super huge float as I'm doing this. So I'm only going to be going just 1 more stitch, 2 more stitches here with the orange, and then I am going to take my cream yarn and then I will just switch the yarn colors like that and finish off this row with these stitches. So this is it's really simple. You don't have to worry about colors sticking out too much. You don't have to worry about carrying the yarn. You just get to just kind of move it and pull it over as you go. And if you don't want to carry it at all, or feel like you're using a color that stands out way too much, what you can do is you can just form little balls of yarn called bobbins, where you estimate about how much yarn you're going to need on either side, and then you just make a little ball of yarn that then you can just join right here and then have one on this side as well. So that is, if you're using a ton of different colors or you're having big spaces in between different colors, that's really recommended, just because then it's really easy to keep track of everything. But in general, you can just use these techniques I'm showing you as well. So I'm going to begin my next row here, working my way, and since this is worked flat right now, the color work on this side is the wrong side. So you'll see I've got my float on this side, and then as I am switching colors on the wrong side, you always want to make sure that the color of yarn that you're not using goes in the back, and that goes for when you're working on the front side as well. So if you were working on this wrong side, your yarn is going to come towards you, and if you're working on the front here, you'll see that the yarn goes away from you. So you never want to have the yarn come forward when you're working on the right side, because then it will have really weird color changes, and you want to have it always be on the back. So that means having it towards you when you're working on the wrong side and away from you when you're working on the right side here. So then we're going to just switch colors like we did before, but we are going to go ahead and then just leave this white yarn here, and then you can just do kind of what we've done already, and you just work across. And then if you want to do the like halfway through the stitches float thing that I showed you, you totally can. I'm going to do that just because that's what I like to do, but this is basically just all that's involved in Intarsia Crochet. And then, so if you're making the pumpkin pattern, go ahead and keep going on it, and then I will show you how to add more colors to it as you go. So if you are making my pumpkin coaster pattern to practice your Intarsia Crochet, you'll see that I have gone up to row 9, which is the row where I will be switching colors. So I will show you how you add a third color in Intarsia Crochet. So you'll see here on the back, what I've done is I have, as I've worked these rows, I have a bunch of different floats here on the back. And because I didn't want to start a new yarn ball for each side, I only had the one skein of cream yarn. About every 4 stitches, I would crochet around the yarn right here. So for example, take this 4th stitch here that I've done just to show you what I do. So when I get to a 4th stitch, I kind of do kind of a mini tapestry crochet thing. I'm not carrying it through all the way on all of my stitches, but because I don't want to have one giant float going across, I want to do every 4 stitches kind of just crochet around this thread. So what you'll do is you will take your crochet hook, and then you are going to insert it in your next stitch, and you are going to be yarning over this yarn by grabbing the color that you're using, and then basically you're just crocheting around that white strand of yarn. So then it creates this float right here so that you don't have a giant one on the back. So if you're making the pumpkin coaster pattern, you do 5 stitches in of orange, so I need to do 1 more, and then you can leave this white yarn just dropped down there. So then on your next single crochet, what you're going to do is take your brown yarn, and then we are going to switch the colors halfway through this stitch like I showed you before, and then we are going to do 2 stitches with this brown. So 1, 2, and we are not carrying the orange yarn. And then on this next part right here, then we're just going to take the orange yarn and we are going to put it back and start using it again. So then we will create this little mini float back here of the orange yarn going across the brown stitches. So it's super simple. We are just then going to crochet across right here, and since we've gone about 4 stitches in, I'm going to just crochet around that white thread, and then you go 3 more stitches in the orange, just like this. And then on this last one, before you get to the cream right here, then you take your white yarn and then you pull it through and then do the last 2 stitches. So essentially, when you just add in a third color, then you are just going to have your floats go across the back there. So when you're making this coaster pattern, it's going to have the brown, the orange, the cream, and then we add in a green strand of thread as well. So it's really simple to just add in a new color. You just have your floats then go across that way, and then if you're using a background color like this, then just do every 4 stitches having it be joined, so that but by crocheting around it and carrying it for just 1 stitch, so that the float can go all the way across without being super loose. So that essentially is just how you do Intarsia Crochet. You're just carrying your yarn across the back of the work, and then when you add in multiple colors, then you're going to drop your yarn when you're done with it. You're not carrying it at all, and then you just create the floats along the back. So if you would like to practice this, be sure to check out my pumpkin coaster tutorial in the link below, and it will help you practice these new skills, as well as a bunch of other crochet patterns that I have on my site that use either tapestry crochet or Intarsia Crochet. It's totally up to you what you want to do. So I hope that this was a really helpful tutorial, and I can't wait to see what projects you make. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button as well, so I can keep making all of these awesome tutorial videos for you. See you next time. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like it below if you enjoyed watching it, and hit the subscribe button if you never want to miss out a video from me, and also check out my other videos and tutorials on my channel. See you next time!